I'm Shane Nyland, and my co-host is Blake Musser. And these stories you're about to hear are from Weapons Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, 1st Marine Division, about the events surrounding and directly from the mouths of the people who were in Ramadi, 2004. Welcome back to Constant Combat. This is part 2 of our interview with Jesse Jordan from Mobile Assault Platoon 2.
Oh, I was just gonna say I was fairly well preoccupied with the last few weeks of our time. I know the three of us were involved in that last stretch when everybody else had pulled out, and we had never volunteered for anything in the military, right? And volunteered to stay back with
I didn't so much volunteer. JD just told me that I was staying back, and Randall was like, "Yeah, you're staying back."
Oh, Yep. I volunteered, but
yeah,
it was
much to my chagrin.
It was considered key leaders or whatever. I was me, Jesse, Randall, Swede, Harden, and JD Stevens.
Yeah,
and they sent Big Boy with the rest of the platoon over to Junction City.
Yeah, or Camp Ramadi as they named it afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah, it was funny because we get ambushed on, I think it was the last day because after that we all kind of decided and told the OPSO that we were never going out with those guys again because we get ambushed on that day and we hold up in the government center right there.
Yeah.
We're in that back lot of the government center, and I look up, and JD's like, "None of y'all get out of the trucks. Stay in the trucks. None of us are getting in this fight." I'm like, "Roger that." So I look up, and Randall and Nick or Shane are gone. I'm like, "What? Where the hell?" So I get up to go find them. They're out there on the front line. So I go out there. Just as I get to them, they turn around. They're like, "Hey, JD said get back in the trucks." I'm like, "What the hell?" So we all walk back to the trucks. A few minutes later, gunfire starts popping off again. I look up. Shane and Randall are gone again. And so I come walking out to go meet them. And here they come again. They're like, "Hey, JD said get back on the trucks." I'm like, "Stop leaving me. I want to go get some too, damn it."
Were you guys did you guys get pulled in early? Because I was with a different platoon, and things had already kicked. Like when we rolled in, like it was already going.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to link up because we didn't have any kind of leadership directly over top of the 81's guys. It was Diaz, Reeves. Who else? I know the three of us. I can't remember who else was the 81's guys, but nevertheless, where we were just kind of real direction. And so I was just running around.
We were taking log train that morning. And when we hit 295 is when we got ambushed. And I remember the gunner, rounds were hitting off my door. And I'm in the back seat going, "Oh my God, I can't believe I've made it this far."
Yep, to die on September 12th, literally the last day. Yeah.
I'm gonna die here. And so I start, nobody's shooting back at this point. And I get it. This is day one. They're like getting into a firefight. Because I remember my first firefight, I'm looking around like, where's it coming from? Like I didn't know which direction to shoot. So I just started shooting. And so I start punching the gunner. I'm like, "Shoot." And he's like, "I don't see anything." And I'm like, "It's a suppressive fire weapon. Suppress. And he's the only one out of that whole platoon that started shooting. And he did. He laid down suppression, and then we pushed on through. And then on the way back is when we started catching it again, and that's when we pulled up in combat outpost.
Yeah, that was when my vehicle got disabled. They shot through the radiator and through the front of the engine block.
Yeah.
because of the exact same situation. No one was shooting, and I was watching my door get tattooed, and I was like, "We're going to die here. You need to shoot."
Yeah.
And just screaming. I was like, "Throw smoke, shoot. I don't care. Do something." And I was like, "Drive." And he's like, "The vehicle won't drive anymore." And thank fucking God for Golf Company having a unit come out, because had they not, they'd have killed all of us. There's no doubt in my mind. And if I remember correctly, they went off on the side of the road. In my mind, it's to the right, but it's to the south on the map. And they cleared some area and shot up a whole bunch of dudes. And that was like, that ended the whole ambush. And that was the only way we got out of there.
Yeah, because they blew out both my left tires
Mm-hmm.
on that truck. And when we came back around, we came back in by Snakepit. And Snakepit, their road going into Snakepit was right along the canal. And they had the big giant T-wall barriers as a serpentine.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of in the back, and the front of the platoon had taken a right to go into Hurricane Point. Well, the back part of the platoon didn't see them take a right, so we took a left and went into fucking Junction City, into Camp Ramadi. And so that was, and Major Harold, the OPSO, was there outside of because we just happened to pull up over at Charlie Med. So Major Harold was standing there for some, because people were coming in from the ambush and everything. And that's when I jumped out of the truck. I was like, I'm never riding with these sons of bitches again. He's like, what happened? So I was like, you see my tires? I was like, both tires are blown out. The other half of the platoon, do you know where they are? Me either. He was just like, what? And I think that's when he made the call that we were done riding with him. And that was the last time we went out with him.
Yep.
My three closest shaves where I which was that day also where I was, can't believe I made it out. I got blown off that ladder from that mortar. Anyways, the day before is my alive day when I should have died. Like I got when a bunch of us had gotten out to combat outposts. They got a poo, and the goddamn battalion commander or whoever decided to send out the entire battalion in like a 1-block area. And then we were trying to, and I was looking at the lieutenant that was a part of our truck team, and I was like, we got to get out of here. There's we are providing nothing here. At least let's push out and be like an outer cordon. Anyways, to make a long story short, we start pulling forward, and we were just creeping along. And I was yelling at the Sergeant Chanel, to like tell the lieutenant, let's go. And the only thing that saved me was the fact that I had leaned forward and grabbed the whisper mic and had pulled it back, and I was reaching around to key the mic. And that's when the RPG hit the window, and just like I was, And anyways, so that was on the 11th. Yeah. And then
it killed the other. Did it kill the other two in the truck? I can't remember.
Yeah. I was the only I wasn't completely ambulatory. I was knocked out, and I was pretty loopy there. And they took me out to combat outpost to get patched up. But I then jumped back into the truck because I'm too dumb to. I should have just been like, I'm going home. Like,
I mean, we all had that mentality. I mean, there was only one time where I was like, I don't want to go outside the wire. And then the very next sentence in my head was like, stop being a bitch and get suit up. And that was when you remember when that rocket hit the Connex box right there that,
oh yes.
Yeah.
So I was at my truck. We were gearing up that morning to go out for log train, I think. And it was me, Matroka, Knife.
I was out there.
And I think Bill.
Yep. Groves was out there. I was out there. Shit Boots was out there. Anderson.
Yeah. And so we're getting the trucks and stuff ready. And we were out there earlier than everybody else. And the sun had not even started coming up yet. And I remember stopping in the middle of the road, and because it was a little cool outside, and I was like, the sun was coming up, but wasn't up yet. And I just remember thinking to myself, man, it's a beautiful morning. It's gorgeous out here. And just as I turned to walk, that thing hit that Conex box and it blew me into the sand. And then I low crawled over into the smoke pit after that. And because because remember, it was going both ways. The outgoing was going from Junction City, and then I guess they were rocketing Junction City. And so I remember standing in the middle of the road going, which direction is it going? Is it outgoing or is it incoming? And just when I said that is when it hit that Conex box and blew it out. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to go outside the wire. And then I'm like, you're being a bitch. They just hit you inside the wire. Why don't you want to go outside the wire? But that was the only time that really shook me up to the point to where I was questioning my life's decisions.
I think that's underreported too, is the amount of indirect fire we got on Hurricane Point. It was constant. I think we got hit 2 to 3 times a week. I can't remember a time sleeping comfortably.
It was more than that, because I remember, and I've got to find it. Anyways, I kept notes, and the math that I mathed was something like we were shelled every 3rd day. Like when I stretched it out, like it was every 3rd day or 4th day. I can't remember exactly, but it was more than once a week. We were hit with either rocket, mortar, or some other thing that came inside of our area. And then I kept track of how many times my convoy was hit, and number of times. And it was an insane op tempo. I mean, it was insane. Yeah. Insane.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was you guys that took that mortar round right at the corner of your little squad plate, and it dismantled or it blew the tire out of one of the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that was because Big Boy was sitting on the sidewalk talking on the iridium, and the mortar hit. he jumped up, runs in his fucking hooch, throws on his helmet and flat jacket, runs down to our hooch, and we're all still sleeping. Obviously we woke up, we were like, well, didn't come in our hooch, and then we kind of laid back down. He busts in and he was like, hey, put it. And I think Shane was like, we're up. Like, y'all are crazy. And then just turned around and walked out. And I also remember Boy coming in there one day. Shane was, I think we all thrown our boots on and everything for QRF, and we all were laying back down to the hooch, and you were passed out. And he came in to say something, and I don't remember what you said, but you were still in that fog of waking up from a nap, and you smarted off to him, and he was like, get the fuck up now. And then you just see the fear in your eyes where he was about to choke you out. You're like, yeah, I'm getting up. I'm coming.
Yeah. Staff Sergeant Coleman said specifically, I don't know who you're talking sweetly to. You're not fucking me. Get the fuck up or I'm going to kill you.
That's what it was.
And I was dead ass out. Yeah. I don't remember saying anything to him. And apparently I was sleep talking, and that happened all the time because there were multiple 40-hour periods where I didn't sleep at all. I was in the headquarters. I was wigged out because of indirect fire. I was taking care of somebody. Who the fuck knows what I was doing? I was checking the radio or the truck for the 700th time, like an obsessive psychopath.
Yeah.
And when I actually would sleep, I was dead to the world. So who knows what the hell I said to him?
Yeah. I don't remember what you said either. I just remember you, and I don't even think it was that bad, but you weren't giving him the answer that he wanted, and he threatened to kill you.
Yeah. I love it.
That guy, I love that dude. It was funny because remember we were doing a gear inspection, getting ready to leave, and they were like, "Hey, your new platoon sergeant's coming. He's coming from the drill field," and we were like, "Son of a bitch!"
Yeah.
And he shows up, and it was already dark because it get dark at like 4:30 there in California during the wintertime, and it's already dark outside. He's like, "Hey, let's wrap this up. I got beer to drink," and we were like, "All right, never mind. This is gonna be our dude." Yeah. He was.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good people. It was I couldn't ask for a better I was real butthurt because I was platoon sergeant when he took over.
Yeah.
And thinking back, there was literally no reason that I should have been platoon sergeant. But I was like, fuck, a goddamn drill instructor. This is going to be fucking haircuts and shining boots. We don't even have shiny boots anymore. It's going to be fucking stupid shit. No, man, he was great. He was great. And his experience with previous combat stuff was invaluable because he would tell us shit that nobody else would tell you. Like, you know, the important things, like making sure you had the ice in the cooler was more important than any of the other shit you were doing, or your radio checks were more important than anything else you were doing, or make sure you take a shit before you go out on patrol.
Yeah,
And
that is like, and we got to the point to where like we were throwing extra waters and stuff in our cooler because we would go and support one of the line companies, and these dudes would just be fucking dying out there, patrolling all day. And now, you know, after reading that book, I didn't realize the patrols that they were. I knew they were out doing patrols, but I didn't realize the miles they were putting in at the beginning of that deployment.
It's insane.
On a daily basis, like, you know, and just ridiculous. Like, like there's no way you're going to catch dudes and placing IEDs that way. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, you go out and do a patrol, and maybe you clear a couple of IEDs, but they're right back there in the same place the next day. Like,
yeah, they have an endless supply of ammunition to throw into those holes. And we're talking about a city that was the epicenter of the city was 200,000 people as far as living capacity, and 400,000 extended.
Yeah.
And there was 1,000 of us, and this, you know, Echo Company, especially 100 dudes are going to patrol enough to be able to patrol 400,000 people's worth of living space. No, that was a poor choice of objectives as far as that goes, but we didn't know any better. I mean, we thought for sure we would catch the one or two bad guys.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, like, we knew that Ramadi was like the center of the bath party, but like, I didn't realize that this was essentially a retirement home for all of the special forces intel people from
all of the Republican, all of the high-ranking Republican Guard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was a huge deal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That actually reminds me of so what was your guys' interpreter situation? Who was Rocky the guy that would go mostly with you guys in the end? Like, who was your do you remember any of your early interps?
Rocco's the only one I remember us taking out. But then he got to the point to where Weiler only wanted to take out Rocco. So a lot of times we didn't even have an interpreter, did we, Shane? Not that I remember.
Nope. Most of the time it was pointing and grunting and dragging people in to talk to somebody else because of it. But also, so that's the difference between our platoons also, and that's a good thing to point out. We did so much of the outer cordon and area security, and we actually, map 2 and map 3 ended up being the advanced team. We would go and set up and secure the area in the middle, and then we would punch out an outer cordon. And then you guys, because you had so many more dismounts, you would come in and do all the door kicking and searching the actual houses. The number of times on like the bug hunts and what was the other one? I've got it written down here somewhere, actually. Operation Traveler, all those other things. Yeah, where we were searching houses.
Yeah,
that was you. That was not never us, but almost never us. We often showed up first, secured the area, checked the rooftops, and then we would just get back in our trucks and start driving out a cordon.
See, I never really realized that was the case because you're right. I mean, I think I went on. I think I was. If I wasn't involved in, I feel comfortable in saying that I was involved in at least 70% of the door kicks for the battalion. Because I actually was pulled several times out of and I was by myself, dropped off at Snakepit, dropped off at combat outpost, and attached to whatever unit was going to do a small door kick.
But your particular training was unique. You went to the Arabic school or the Arabic training anyway.
Yeah. Right. And because I was asked to keep the wheels on the interps that we had when we had them, because we had such bad luck at that beginning. Not bad luck. It was bad intel of getting people that were on our side. But it was more or less my job to babysit the interps, which then meant that I was first or second guy in like all of these raids. And so on the inner cordon on everything.
Yeah, and we sent Cohen to learn Arabic too, which was really bad on our part because once he got down range, Cohen spoke a little Hebrew because his Jewish background and everything. And so when we would go out on mission, we'd be like, Cohen, talk to him about this. And Cohen would listen to him and tell us like what they're saying, but he's like, I don't feel comfortable talking with them because they're going to pick up that I speak my Hebrew dialect. And I was like,
and that happened. Yeah,
definitely didn't think that through.
that happened. One of them called him out. They were like, they said something like some word that I don't know, but he said like they called me Israeli, and I was like, we can't do this. Yeah.
So obviously he'd be able to listen to him and kind of tell us what he thought they were saying or whatever, but he didn't feel comfortable talking to him after that, and which I don't blame him. I don't think anybody even tried to get him to do that after that.
No, we stopped using him. I mean, it wasn't worth it. He also ended up leaving early though when he had that broken jaw.
That's right. Where did you get that broken jaw from?
Playing volleyball.
Yeah,
right. He survived an RPG attack only to get evac'd because of volleyball accident.
Yeah, I forgot he got sent home early.
Yeah, went up for a spike, came down on somebody's head, broke his jaw, and that hard son of a bitch, fully broken. You can see from the outside his jaw was broken, and continued to eat and drink and cry. While, like he tried to wipe away the tears and act like he wasn't crying. He'd been trying to eat rice because it would be easier to swallow. And he's like, Sergeant, I'm not leaving. I was like, you're going to fucking get an infection. You're going to die. Yeah. You're going to die. The mouth is a dirty place. You're going to fucking die. And he's like, no, I'm not going. It's like, bro, you're going. See you later.
How late into the deployment did he get pulled out?
I honestly don't remember. It was after April and May because he was there for all the big gunfights. It might have been May. Because we had that lull in May.
Yeah.
Before Savage was killed. Kind of a lull. We didn't really we never really had a lull, but that was the most ambushes until Savage got killed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because I do remember it was warm. It started getting warm out during the days and stuff, and that's when he broke his jaw, hot out. I just remember we were coming back into Hurricane Point one day, and it had to have been around like between 1 and 3 o'clock because it was the hottest part of the day. And some guy just comes around the corner from the building and shoots an RPG at us. It goes between, and it was the one day that Bill Groves was like, I want to get in the gun. And so Geezer comes out of the gun and drives, and Bill's in the gun. And the RPG goes between Bill and the antenna of the truck because it ripped off the antenna. The stabilizer fan ripped off the antenna. And it explodes on the wall of a compound right across the street. And so we see the flash, and everybody turns to the flash and just starts opening up. And then somebody, I think it was Knife, was like, hey, it's coming from over here. And so we all turned back around. But at that point, the guy was gone. And I would say Map 1 was satelliting us and saw him running, and they tried to track him down for a little bit. And then we come around the building, and there's a carpet with a bowl of grapes, a bowl of ice water, which still had ice in it, a bag with a couple of AK mags in it, and then another RPG laying there. And, we check everything out. We go over and we get the guy out of the compound that we just shot and blew his gate off of his compound. We bring him over, and we're like, hey, look, you see this? You're allowing this to happen in your neighborhood, and that's why your house just got shot up. And so everybody kind of walked away. The guy picks up a rock and goes to throw it on the RPG, like just in frustration. And I'm still standing there, and I was like, no, I pushed the guy down. When we come back around the building, I look, and we already had the up armored Humvees at this point. I look, and the tire treads were melted in the asphalt. It was so hot, and the trucks were so heavy, like the asphalt had gotten soft, and it was leaving tread marks in the asphalt. And I looked at JD. I'm like, "Hey, boss, it's time to go home. It's time to get out of the sun." He was like, "Yeah, let's go. Pack it up. Let's get back on Hurricane Point. This is ridiculous." Like, that's how hot it got in that place during the summertime.
That's so miserable.
I know. But yeah, I think Bill, because I think the guy shot his RPG and then popped off a few rounds with his AK, and Bill had a bullet hole in the sleeve of his blouse.
Yep.
One bullet had gone through the sleeve of his blouse right under his arm.
That's what I remember is the bullet hole in his the sleeve of his camis.
Yeah, I don't think we realized that the antenna was gone until we got back on Hurricane Point. We were like, "Where did your antenna go?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." Yeah, which I think that guy is taking more injuries as a cop than he did when we were in Ramadi.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah, every time I talk to him on the phone, I'm like, "Did anything bad just happen to you?" Because every time I call him, something bad's just happened to you. Took a screwdriver to the eye one time.
Oh, Jesus.
He broke his arm not too long ago.
He just broke his arm.
Little Bill. Yeah, love that guy. I just remember seeing Bill during a firefight one time. He was the driver, and he had gotten tired of just being the driver, so he was laying on the ground right outside of the truck with a extra 240, just laying down rounds with a 240 right under his driver's side door. And then he would get up, put the thing in there, drive a little bit, get out, take it out, start lay down, start shooting again.
There's no way for anybody to understand how much those trucks were just gypsy carts. I mean, we had water cans and strapped to the outside in fucking racks that were made for 4x4 weekend off-roaders. They sure as hell weren't military grade racks. We had concertina wire, sometimes strapped to the hood, and then people realized you could throw things up and it'd get stuck in the concertina wire and blow you up. So then we started mounting it on the grill. And then people were like, oh, it's not universal enough. They're going to be able to pick out individual trucks, as though the insurgents are somehow picking out individual trucks.
Yeah.
Well, with the Haji armor and the way that we had it set up, I mean, it was very obvious.
Right. Right. You could figure out unit movements without much work.
That one has a half door. That's a 3/4 door. That's
Not only that, it was very apparent. Like when we switched out and we were doing the left seat, right seat. You remember, like by the end of our deployment, they were throwing rocks at us and everything else. And then, like overnight, they were back to waving and asking for candy and everything. Like, and when we were doing the left seat, right seat, with
they knew, yeah,
they knew exactly when we were being replaced, and they were trying to lure the next unit in with their.
And it was very evidenced by the black pajama assault that was on September 12th. Is they knew these were new guys, and so they thought they were gonna take it over. And then on September 12th, also, I don't know what they thought. But clearly, because I don't think we captured anybody to even ask, or anybody wrote it down anyway.
Yeah.
But that was when the estimate was over 100 insurgents, but I don't know that anybody knows that they tried to storm the gate of Hurricane Point and overtake the snake pit. They started trying to jump the walls of the snake pit. Yeah.
And that was when that kid from Fox Company was in the tower with the SMAW, laying SMAW rounds down at the cyclic rate.
Yep.
Which I've never seen anything like that before in my life. That poor kid, I hope he's still alive, and I hope his brain's intact, at least.
The concussions in that tower.
Yeah. Because I remember when I was in 1-3, I shot 11 rounds in about an hour and a half time period. And I had a concussion afterwards. I had to go through, Doc had to stay up with me all night to make sure I didn't die from, brain hemorrhaging or whatever. So I know this kid, he did it in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I know his brain had to have just been mush. The kid probably stayed up all night throwing up.
I think if I remember correctly, that was Harrison, and he's still alive as far as I know, but I've not talked to him since. And so I wouldn't know, but I think that's who that was. Cause I remember him yelling and laughing and yelling and shooting those small rounds, and he fired so many.
Yeah. Cause I used to thump my chest and be like, yeah, I fired 11 rounds and, at one time, because in the small community, that's a big no-no. So you don't shoot more than 3 in training and 5 in combat.
Mm-hmm.
And then this kid's hitting 15 and laughing at me oh, Pussy.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anybody like reload a SMAW so fast in my life. Like, I mean, he was very like,
I mean, that's truly locked in. That was a fight for their lives. And they had just had, I don't know what day it was, but it wasn't long before that. It was in August when they had that guy sniped out of the tower that got killed. Lance
Yeah.
Corporal that got sniped and killed.
Oh, that's right.
And so when they were in those towers, those guys were on edge. I mean, we didn't
Oh.
talk to, again, this is the weird thing about this whole thing is every individual company had such a unique experience.
Yeah.
I don't, how many extended conversations did you have with anybody in Fox Company during that 7-8 month period? Fucking none. Maybe I had 5 minutes worth of an interaction when we rubbed up against each other on a patrol.
Yeah,
Same thing with
or-
Golf and Echo. I would, high five them on the way through combat outposts. You just
Yeah.
didn't talk to people. And so I can't imagine what it was like to be up on that same exact tower where your buddy just got shot. I think he got shot
Yeah.
through the neck or the chest. I don't remember, but I remember he got killed.
Yeah, and that was crazy too that they would even attempt to do that. They essentially put themselves in an L-shaped ambush because we had
Mhm.
guys on the tower, and
Mhm.
and I think you and Randall ran up to the gate that day and were shooting from the gate that day, weren't you?
Yes.
At the
Yeah.
same-
So when we were unloading after a left seat, right seat, and I had already opened up my flak. I was ready to like get some air, and Randall was taking the round out of the 203 and doing, the clearing barrel thing, that stupid fucking clearing barrel,
Yeah,
the berm. I mean, we didn't even really have barrels. And as we were there, we started hearing escalating fire. And that was when we heard the first small round go off. And someone's yelling. I don't know who it is, but at our front gate, they're yelling, but they're not shooting. And so I was like, well, we better go look and see what's going on. And put on back on the gear. He put the 40 mic back in the 203. And we'd start jogging over there. And most of the guys at the front gate were ducked down and not shooting. The only one who was shooting was up on the top sandbag tower portion. And he was shooting down with his rifle and not the 50 cal that was sitting right next to him and loaded. And there was a car that they said was a V-bid that was basically right at the gate. And that's why they were all ducked down. And it was a taxi, one of those stupid orange and white Opel taxis. Yeah. And Randall started laying 203s into that thing and hit it everywhere. And there was no sympathetic detonation. And so we pushed forward to the front of the gate. The headquarters guys popped up and started shooting. And they were rushing. I mean, they were truly rushing the gate. And they weren't afraid. That was the other thing that was the key is the insurgents weren't scared that the V-bid was going to go off because it wasn't a V-bid. They were walking right past it. So we're getting overran. You need to start shooting.
yeah. And that was when we cleared. I got back in the truck and they took off back to our squad bay. You guys were still at the berm.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time I got out of the truck, I went inside, took my kit off, and looked around for you guys and was like, "Where the fuck?" And then that's when I heard the small go off, and then I was like, I looked back out and I was looking for you guys, and I'm like, they must be at the gate. So I put my stuff back on and started walking back to the gate. And by that time, you guys were walking away from the gate again because you did it to me again. You left me again.
You know who showed up was First Sergeant Ellis. First Sergeant Ellis showed up with 8 fresh dudes with and 2 of them were carrying a wooden box of ammo like it was World War II.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "What's going on?" We're like, about 40 or 50 dudes tried to come over the wall at the gate. They're all dead. And he goes, "All right, thanks." And then just did this weird half a salute. And I was like, "You're a first sergeant. Why the fuck are you saluting me?" I don't know who he thought we were. And then he ran up there and they did all their stuff. And we went back and sat down.
Yeah. Now Ellis was probably doing it as a joke.
Yeah.
Like knowing him so Gunny Ellis was my comm chief in 1-3. And so I would go over there and chat with him because, we had a couple of computers over there that had internet that you could email. So I'd go over there and chat with him over at the headquarters sometimes and talk shit about everybody from 1-3 from back in the day. And Yeah, so when I got the call that he had been killed, like that, I was driving to Florida and had to pull up on the side of the road and take a minute because that dude was a good dude.
He was great. Every interaction I had with him was fantastic. He was always very much in charge, but very like he I don't even want to say like humorous, but he like made things lighter. Like you were happier being around him because he was just a positive dude. It was weird. Even like in that weird 5-second interaction of him saluting, like it was just funny.
Yeah, yeah, he was a great dude. Yeah, I went to check out of 2-4 and my dumb ass, because I'm from Alabama and I can't read. I didn't read on there that only staff and COs, and I had to check out with him. And so I'm up there with my checkout sheet. I'm like, "Hey, Sergeant Major, I'm here to check out." And he's like, "No, that's only for staff and COs." But Jordan, get the fuck in here. And he's like, "You're a good son of a bitch." And he's like, sign my checkout sheet. He's in a towel. He's in his towel. And he was like, "You're a good fucker." That's what he said. "You're a good fucker." I think that was when I was going to division schools. I was checking out there going to division schools, which he tried to send me to Mojave Viper to be one of the first instructors at Mojave Viper then. And my sister had just killed herself, and so I was still dealing with all that stuff back home. And so he was like, "All right, I'm not going to send you to Mojave Viper then because you're not going to have time to take care of anything if you do that." So, which I'm glad I didn't want to do that in the first place.
Yeah, no, that was all 29 Palms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be.
They just started CAX into this new Mojave Viper thing.
Yep. Yeah. No one wants to be in 29 Palms ever.
No.
And that's the reason why the Army abandoned it and gave it to the Marine Corps.
Yeah, of course we take it. It's the only desert base that we have with infantry guys. Then some amphibious forces.
And, I mean, I guess I think Pendleton's desert enough. I don't know that you need more desert. It just has longer ranges.
Yeah, we're supposed to be an amphibious force, but we have this desert base.
Yeah, big beach, no ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's what it's for. Learn how to take beachheads on the biggest beach. Yeah.
That's something that I know that Nyland and I've talked about a couple of times, but and I don't know why that made me think of it, but we were such an interestingly made up group going over in the first place. We had got like so many of us. Something that we noted was that in unremitting, it made it sound like we were a boot battalion, but in my memory, there was a lot of us that were like really long in the tooth and had gone through a ton of schools. So where I was going with that is I was curious at what your thoughts, Jordan, on, because Nyla and I've kicked this around before, but the idea of like, were we a heavily experienced battalion or were we not? And then from the standpoint of like, did we just have this really interesting mix of individuals that had a lot of really specialized extras? Like I know I went through a bunch of division schools. I know you guys all went through a bunch of division schools, to include you had length of service, but then we also got, God's grace of getting Merarkey and Booker and a couple other people that just were like, "Oh no, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah. Here's the bar that we're going to at a minimum meet." And so we weren't having as big as a learning curve because we should not have been as successful as we were.
I think from a weapons company standpoint, we weren't as junior as some of the other companies. And also, and I don't know this for a fact, but Kennedy had worked for Mattis during the push.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think that Mattis told Kennedy, like, pick your people. I mean, obviously we were already set with weapons company having Merarkey, but I mean, I think he brought Booker on, and I think he brought a lot of his staff on. Okay. So from that standpoint, I think we were kind of handpicked as senior. And I think, to be honest with you, for the amount of junior guys that we had, I think that kind of offset, and that kind of allowed us to bring all the people that we brought home. Because if it wouldn't have been for that, if that case, then we probably would have lost a lot more people. But at weapons company, we were the QRF of the whole battalion. We didn't have an AO like the other companies did, and So we probably, we showed up to a gunfight. It quieted a lot of people, when those 50s and marks started barking. And, I think that kind of probably allowed us to bring a lot more people home than we thought were there, than probably should have come home, or would have come home. And I talked to a company commander not too long ago. I'm not going to name him by name on here, but, he was thanking me for allowing him to, essentially he's like, I owe you guys everything. I'm like, you don't owe us anything. Like, we were all just doing our job.
Yeah.
And I was like, in fact, like, you're probably one of the only ones that I, value your input on things still to this day, because of the stuff that you guys did and the way you commanded your company. Like, we saw it from our company, and a lot of guys have a lot of respect for what you did out there. But yeah, when he said that, though, I was just like dumbfounded, like, for one, the humility of the guy, thanking us for what we did. Like, no, we were just doing our job. You don't owe us anything. In fact, we were all in the shit together.
I think that's, I hadn't ever really thought about it from the standpoint of, and I know, Nylan, you said it a little bit differently earlier, is like, weapons company, well, due to how we were structured with Hurricane Point, Snakepit, Combat Outpost, the uniqueness of our experiences, even though we were functional, like, we were in the exact same place, exact same time, but functionally, we were fighting completely different, like, our data. I mean, we were, weapons company was functionally can't say the word right now. Dragoons. There we go. Like that dismounted cavalry version of how it should be. And I'd be curious to know if that's was philosophically what they were trying to use us as, but that's how we were being functioned.
I don't think they knew, but I think that's what ends up. And talking about people being siloed, we're not even mentioning the other people that were operating in the AO. We had Blue Diamond right across the river, and they were in our AO often. Yep. And we went, I mean, this is just speaking to the size of weapons companies area, the number of times we went to Al Taqaddum Air Base. We drove up to Camp Fallujah. We drove through Habaniyah multiple times. We went, I know for sure you guys with 81s went way south of the city, farther south than I ever went. Yep. We went way north, up on the highways, way north with the Army, and cleaned up on, I think it was March 31st when those 5 guys got killed in that Humvee.
Yeah.
We went and backed them up. We're not talking about the Army. The first AD was with us the whole time, and they're mentioned a lot in all the books and stuff like that. But I mean, that's again, fair. Our experience versus their experience is night and day, and even more so with the line companies. It sounds like from the numbers that were pulled that a lot of the line company guys, they had. He was saying things like 60-70% of them were junior Marines that were in high school the year prior to being in combat. That definitely was not the experience of our platoon, Jesse. That was, I mean, we had, our squadway was split in half, and half was sergeants and half was boots. And it was, we had a very senior platoon.
It was exactly half, because we would do NCO versus non-NCO grappling matches all the time. Like brawls. Yeah.
I miss that hooch. I wish I could rebuild it here.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't miss the roof.
With or without the tarp roof.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Did you ever hear the story of Mac? First Sergeant Mac was asleep one night, and that the wind picked up one night, and it ripped their canvas roof off their hooch, and it smacked him in the face, and he thought somebody slapped him. And they had the fluorescent lights on the wall, and he turned around and hit the fluorescent light because he thought somebody had slapped him, and broke. And he ended up like with cuts on his hand from slapping this fluorescent light.
That's a 300-pound man slapping anything. I'm surprised it didn't punch through the wall.
I was going to say, I'm surprised there wasn't some cinder blocks laying around.
Man, I remember one time I went into the gym on Hurricane Point, and he was doing like this workout in there. And I think it's probably his cool down workup. And it was just, I was like, why are you lifting all of the weights? Yeah. Like, you're just repping 5,000 pounds.
And he would listen to Beyonce when he worked out. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Staff Coleman used to do that too. He would come in the gym, throw 3 plates on each side on an incline bench, rep it out 10 times, rack it, and then walk out. Leave the weights on the bench. And I asked him one day, I'm like, why do you do that? He's like, just so that you young bucks know I still got it in case y'all get froggy one day. I'm like, my God. Yeah.
That's too funny.
I think Bill's the only one that ever grappled him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they went at it in the dirt that one time. Which, I mean, Bill's that crazy.
I mean, I'm trying to think. There's not very many of dudes of size. I mean, Williams is a pretty big boy. Yeah. He was pushing 220, 240, somewhere around there, and still lean enough to run a pretty fast 3 mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, not very many people that big. Those are just big people.
Yeah, Williams had like banana. It was like a bunch of bananas for fingers, like just massive hands. And the only reason I remember because he hit Bill in the nuts one time, and Bill was like dry heaving, like it hurt so bad. We were in the cop shop before we left, and Bill said something smart, and he just bam and hit him with that bunch of bananas that he had for hands and put him down. I saw him. We've got a little like tap house over here, and I saw him out there one night, and you would have thought that, it was long lost love between me and Williams. Like we forgot the people we were with, and him and I just started talking to him the whole time.
That's great, man. I don't think I've talked to him in 20 years. It's had to been at least that long.
I mean, that's the first time I had seen him. Like, and he's been here on Lejeune for years, and I had no idea.
Was he still in?
He's retired now. He had just retired whenever I saw him, and he's got gray in his beard just like the rest of us, but which is funny. It's just good-looking black man with gray in his beard.
I think that's the other thing that's interesting to me is the trajectory of a lot of the Marines that came out of Weapons Company. I don't know how many sergeant majors we produced, but it was a lot.
A lot.
A lot of guys who stayed in for a long, and not just stayed in, but didn't like do 20, get to gunny and got out. They all made it the full way. Like that's insane.
I made it to gunny and did 20 and got out, but I also had broken times too, because I'm a dumbass and can't decide what I want to do with my life.
But you're still kind of in it and still working in the business, so it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's a love-hate relationship, because, you take all these lessons that you've learned over the years and stuff like that. And when we were at the reunion, Kennedy pulled me aside and asked what I was still doing. And, at that point, I was getting ready to hang it up. I was like, I'm done doing this. I want to move on and do something else. And he, pulled me aside. He's like, make sure you train those boys to the best of your ability. Make sure they know all the lessons learned that you've learned over the years. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. Why did you? Now I feel emotionally connected to this again. And now I've got to go and do that kind of stuff. So, yeah. I just want to sell coffee. That's all I want to do. Keep messing that up. But yeah, it's funny because, Oliver North being with us for so long while we were over there and running so many missions and stuff with us. The night that we went out there for that VBIED that was over there by the arches, and all of us had told EOD, were like, hey, there's something messed up. Like this vehicle, it's under the only working street light in this whole city. It's in the median and not on the side of the road. That's different TTP than they've been using. Like there's something different about this. Let us shoot it with the tow missile and get out of here because something is up. And they're like, no. We need to bring the robot out. So they bring the robot out. And obviously Oliver North is there, so that's why they want to bring the robot out. So the robot's heading down to the thing, and just as it gets to the car, you hear bloop, bloop, bloop. And Oliver North's standing right next to me. Me and him, I'm trying to chat with Oliver North, and he goes, those are mortars, and takes off running. And just as it was by the third round hitting the ground, the robot was back in the truck, and they were like, shoot with the tow missile. And so that was on the intro scene for War Stories for a long time, was that missile shot into that VBID.
Yeah, Moselle shooting that missile. That was a good shot.
Well, that's what I tell everybody. I'm like, that was the intro shot, but what they didn't see, what you don't see, is Mosey missing on the first shot.
Yep. Yep.
And but yeah, later on, fast forward to, what was that, 2008, 9 time? I think it was like 2008. Not 2009. I'm in Afghanistan, and I'm working for IJC, sitting on a talk floor, sitting on a computer. We had this multinational ISAF talk. We had like maybe 6 Marines in the whole place. And the staff sergeant comes over, reservist. He's like, "Hey, Oliver North's over at the coffee shop." And I'm like, "Hey," I turn around and look at I work for a master chief, and I looked at him, and he was like, "Go." And so I didn't even say anything. He's like, "Go." So we go over there, and Oliver North is sitting at a table talking to this general. And this colonel, probably chief of staff or something, sitting there behind them. They're chatting, and they were both in the Army. They turn around and they look, and they see 2 Marines standing there, and they're like, obviously these Marines want to talk to another Marine, Oliver North. And so the colonel looks at us, and he's like, "Hey, just give us 1 minute." We're like, "Yeah, roger that, sir." We'll sit back. Oliver North turns and looks, and he goes, "Sergeant Jordan, you son of a bitch." And I was like, "Hey, what's going on, sir?" And so me and him start telling war stories while this general was sitting there listening to our war stories about Ramadi. And so he was like, "Hey, remember that tow missile?" He's like, "Let me tell you what this guy." He's like, "This guy's just like, hey, let's tow this son of a bitch." I'm like, "Sir, I didn't say that." He's like, "I got you on video." And I'm like, so we're walking back, and that staff sergeant was with me. He was like, "That's the coolest shit I've ever seen, dude. You were just telling war stories with Oliver North." I was like, "Yeah, we chewed a little dirt together."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's telling about this deployment specifically, because how many people, like, Oliver North has met 20,000 people, if maybe not even a men less.
Yeah.
And he remembers you specifically.
Yeah.
Because of how weird that shit was.
Well, yeah. I mean, the guy was embedded with us for so long, even to the point where, he was at our ball, next ball.
Yep.
Yeah. And Kennedy was just bringing kegs in. Like, he had people going out and buying kegs for us inside that casino.
What were you going to say, Blake? I cut you off.
I was just going to say, my Oliver North memory was that it was a bigger hit that we were doing, and actually we were doing it on the behalf of some SF group. It was maybe Delta or something that was in our AO, and they asked 2-4 to do the kick. And make a long story short, Oliver North was with us, and so he came along for all that. And so once my team had cleared the compound, I had everybody lined up and et cetera, et cetera. And the SF guy, whoever it was, kept trying to get into the shot, and Oliver like face palmed him out of the camera shot and was like, "Do not. These Marines are the ones that did all the work. I don't give a shit who you are. Yeah. Go stand over there. Get out of my shot."
That was that had to have been Operation Traveler. That had to have been in August, when we were looking for Zerkawi and ended up finding his pants and the driver. And that was about it. We never found Zerkawi, but
we remember his driver scaled the wall, and I think it was Sakaki shot him.
Yep, through the thigh.
And they were going to leave him there to die because, it hit his femoral artery. Mm-hmm. And what was our company corpsman's name? That
was Rake Brandt that brought him back from the dead. The goddamn witch doctor.
Rake Brandt's got him on the back of a high back working on him, and the guy, goes unconscious, loses it, and shits all over Rake Brandt. So he didn't live that down for a while, but Rake Brandt, he did. He brought that dude back to life.
Yep. And what we were told afterwards, now, I don't know that was true, but that was during the intel brief over at the headquarters shed. They amputated that leg at the wherever in Baghdad, and then brought him to one of the many hodgepodge prisons that we had. And that dude broke out of prison with one leg and hopped out of that prison. And they never found his ass again. That's what we were told, is that he's on the loose again. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, he has one leg and it was cut off at the fucking thigh. Like, it wasn't like a ankle. He's missing the whole leg.
Yeah.
You know what? That's the operation also that I had the run-in with some alphabet company. Came to the front door while I had secured that compound and asked for the officer in charge. Long story short, finally, it was one of the map lieutenants. What was the one that talked to him? Anyways, it doesn't matter. Like, they had this exchange. It was a guy in Arab dress. There was two of them,
but he's a white
and
guy.
they talked back and forth for a while. And he looked over at me and said, "Hey, let him through." He came in, picked up a couple bags, grabbed 3 guys out of we had 16 guys, grabbed 3 of them or something like that. And it was like, nope, give them their shit. Let's get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how much of that stuff was going on in Ramadi at that time. Like I said, none of us knew anything about what was going on. Yeah.
You'd find out after the fact. The only way we found out there were SEALs in our AO is because we shot at them.
Yeah.
You just didn't know anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ended up Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I ended up years later met the guy that actually pulled together the mission for Traveler. He's a friend of a friend, and he's the one that got the that broke into the cell phone of one of his lieutenants and figured out that he was in Ramadi and called down. I was like, dude, you called in one of my missions, and he was like, oh shit, that's
weird. Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up. I got people texting me for damn coffee orders like I own a business.
Yeah.
But
this was over 2 hours, man. And it was real fucking good.